Hello everyone, it's day 71 of my 60 pounds in 90 days weight loss challenge, and it's day 4 of my water fast. And let me tell you, yesterday I was tempted. Okay guys, so I'm just using this Himalayan pink salt. I got it at Costco. It's a pretty good deal there. If you don't have a Costco nearby, I will link to some Himalayan pink salt below in the description for you to find. But I need it to balance my electrolytes because I've been feeling lightheaded on and off throughout the day. So all I do is do a few twists into a cup. I don't know, it's maybe a quarter of a teaspoon in there, maybe a little bit more than that. And then I add a little bit of water and just swish it around. And what's interesting to me is that normally the Himalayan pink salt and regular salt and everything, if I put it in water, when I drink it, or when I put it in my mouth to swish around, it seems like if I tried to drink it, I would gag. But right now, presumably because I need it, it doesn't cause me any problems at all. So I just drink it down to help me with my electrolytes, because I have that Propel, but I'm trying to minimize the artificial sweeteners that I use. So all I really want to drink is salt water and like my lemon oil and lime oil and stuff like that for flavoring, that doesn't have any kind of insulinogenic effect, because I don't want to accidentally break my fast. Alright everyone, so you saw that I'm taking pink Himalayan salt, or Himalayan pink salt, whatever you want to call it, to help balance my electrolytes. That's how I get some extra sodium. Some of the side effects of this water fast, one of them in particular has been being lightheaded, very lightheaded several times throughout the day. I've been drinking a gallon of water a day. Still, since I started my water challenge, I never did stop, so I've been drinking a gallon of water a day. But I am walking about 4.5 miles a day, because that's about how much I can fit into my schedule. And so I get up 4.5 miles in a day, which is probably causing me to sweat some and to aspirate some moisture. But I still feel like I'm getting enough water. I mean, a gallon a day, that's a lot of water. I've had a couple of those little Propel packets each day. Apparently that's not enough. So I'm gonna up my sodium intake using pink Himalayan salt. And I'm actually gonna try to cut out the Propel, because I really want to limit the artificial sweeteners and the carb creep that come with getting little packets of stuff like that, just because I don't want to accidentally break my fast or accidentally cause some of the benefits of my fast to be null and void. So I'm just going to switch to having salt for my electrolyte balance. And the pink Himalayan salt, it's more natural. It's not as processed as the iodized table salt that we get. And it has trace minerals in it in addition to the sodium that your body actually can use. So since I'm depleting my body of a lot of minerals, flushing out a lot of the fat is where a lot of minerals and toxins are stored, and things have to be fat soluble. So some of them, some of the things might not be getting processed as well as, I don't know, but some of the things might not be getting processed as well as they once were. So I'm going to go ahead and use that pink Himalayan salt several times throughout the day to try to help balance my electrolytes and keep me from getting lightheaded. So some of the side effects that I've been having, yesterday was a tough day. The day 3, that was day 3 for me, and there was a few times throughout the day where I was like, I don't know if I can do this as long as I want to. I'm not committing to any time frame, because I'm going to stop at any time where I feel like it's impeding my day-to-day activities to a point where I can't be working well, or to the point where I'm really not fun to be around at home. So I'm not going to commit to any timeline, But what I will say is that if I can keep going, then I'm still going to stop the beginning of the second week of April. So basically, I've got this was my 90-day challenge. It's day 71. If I can make it through today and 19 more days to get to that end of that 90 days, I'm going to stop after that, regardless of whether I feel like I can keep going again, keep going or not. And at that point, I'll go back to a ketogenic diet. I'm actually planning on upping my calories and starting to lift weights to try to start building muscle. And then I'm thinking about going on like a 5-2 type plan where I eat ketogenic for 5 days a week, and then for 2 days a week I fast. Because I'm still going to have some loose skin. Not as much as you might think with 150 pound, probably by then it'll be 160 pound weight loss. So not quite as much as you might think. I've been fairly lucky, probably because I have a fairly large frame. I'm like 6'1" or 6'2", and I'm not narrow, so it's kind of spread over my body. But I still would like to tighten that up. So building muscle is going to help with that, and also continued fasting regimen hopefully will keep cutting my body fat percentage to where I can eventually get rid of that. We'll see. I'll have to do a video before I kind of start that plan, showing you what I look like now, or what I look like when I start that plan, and then we'll see how my skin progresses. I am not above getting skin removal surgery if it looks terrible. Right now I don't think it looks bad enough to get it, but I don't know what it's going to look like in 20 or 30 pounds. So that's, right now it's still kind of full, and so I don't know what it's going to look like. But I'm not against doing that, but it'll be a couple years down the road after I attempt to correct it by myself. Attempt to, give it time to shrink, keep my body well hydrated so that it doesn't take extra collagen, so that my skin hopefully is more elastic and will stretch and will shrink back by itself. I don't need it to be perfect. I've done so much damage to my body already. I know it's not going to be perfect, but I don't want it to be terrible either. So I've had lightheadedness throughout the day. Yesterday, for a couple hours, I was like really irritable. That also coincided with when I would stand up, I was getting really lightheaded. So I'm wondering if that was an electrolyte imbalance. So I'm going to start, like when I go to work, I'm going to start taking a baggie of that pink Himalayan salt with me, or a little jar of that with me, so that I can take it throughout the day at work too, because I feel like it needs to be taken every couple hours. So I'm thinking like a 1/4 teaspoon every couple hours. I'm not really sure. I tried to do some research online to see how much you would need, and it's fairly vague. I feel like if I get too much of it, it'll just pass through, so I don't need to worry about it that much. So another problem that I was having relates to going to the bathroom. When I pee, I've noticed that it keeps starting and going. And so I was trying to look online and see if there was any correlation to fasting and stop and go urine flow. I couldn't find anything. So it's really irritating. I don't know if I'm just drinking so much water that I constantly feel like I need to go, and so I'm just pushing a little bit more and a little bit more out. But it's really irritating, especially in the middle of the night. And when I'm lightheaded, standing, I get up in the middle of the night and I'm lightheaded, and then I have to go to the bathroom and I'm standing there going, a little bit more and a little bit more. So I thought, well, maybe there's some correlation to fasting and enlarged prostate. So I tried to do a little bit of research about that. It was in the middle of the night because it just affected me, so I was thinking about it and figured I'd look. But I couldn't really find anything about that. The only link to prostates and fasting that I could find was that fasting somehow helps either prevent or reverse the effects of prostate cancer. So it sounds like it's actually a good thing. So lightheaded, stop and go urine flow, irritability. Like I said, I was irritable yesterday for a couple hours. Man, I was really tempted to give in last night because I hit about 60 hours, which they actually do say is an optimal time frame for a shorter extended fast, because that's when your metabolism is elevated for like 60 hours, and then after that it says, well, we know we're not getting any calories now, so we're going to go ahead and tone back some of the metabolic processes and tone back the metabolism. So I know that I'm not going to lose weight as fast later in the fast as I did early on because of a slower metabolism. However, somebody got El Pollo Loco and brought it in, which is perfectly fine for my typical keto diet, right? And they got this big family pack and brought it into work, and they're like, yeah, have some, Kevin, you better eat some. And I'm not telling anybody at work that I was fasting, because I just don't want to deal with them giving me a hard time about it. Plus, I kind of want to keep it on the down low until I've been able to do it for a while. You know, I don't want them to think that I gave up or something like that. So I'm just not telling anybody. But I was like, man, I could have some chicken. I could have some chicken and go right back on my fast. And I was like, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. One of the things is that if you are going to eat something on your fast, you know, if you're going to break your fast, the best thing for you to break it with is fat, because it has a low insulin response. And also there's some evidence that mTOR, one of the things that shuts down some of the benefits of fasting are your mTOR receptors, and your mTOR receptors respond to protein. So if you eat 100% fat, perhaps some of the fasting benefits continue. So I just didn't do it. It was hard, and actually that kind of coincided with my being lightheaded for a couple hours and being irritable too. That was right around the same time frame. So I don't know if it was just because it was dinner time and my body was like, man, you need to eat, you need to eat. Or if it was because I could smell all that food right there and I knew I had access to it. And so then, you know, my brain was like, what are you doing, fool? You haven't had food for 3 days. You need to eat. So I'm not really sure. I was really tempted, but I didn't give in. So now I'm on day 4. I just woke up a few hours ago. Hopefully I can make it through today. And I hope it's a little smoother sailing than it was yesterday. Yesterday was tough. Day 1 and 2, not that bad. Day 3, I wasn't having too good of a time. So anyway, hopefully today goes a little bit better. Here's my weigh-in from this morning, and I hope I see you guys all tomorrow. Talk to you later. 244.6.